Everybody on YouTube talks about flipping houses. Almost nobody actually shows you the whole deal, the real numbers, the part where the budget blows up, the day-to-day actually sold numbers, not the fantasy numbers. So today, I'm going to walk you through one real Puerto Rico flip, every single number from start to finish. Look, my name is Robbie Krager. I'm the Flip-Flop Flipper. I'm a value-add real estate investor for over the last 27 years, and I've done thousands of deals. We've actually done over 200 deals on the island of Puerto Rico. So grab a pen, let's go. Quick thing before we get into it. If you find value in this, then hit the subscribe button and give the video a like. If you want to take it further, come and join one of our communities. We've got a free one. The link's in the description. This is the only time that I'm going to be asking you about this, so I won't be pitching you anything. For the next 12 minutes, we're walking through this whole deal together. So buckle up. All right, guys, first things I want to tell you is this deal didn't come from Zillow. I didn't find it on the MLS. Actually, down here, the MLS doesn't work that well anyways. So basically, once you see something in those places, the margins are gone. It came from a relationship, from a wholesaler, a guy that I've done a couple of dozen deals with now. Look, the island of Puerto Rico, it's relationship island. So that's what we prefer, is to have relationships, and that's how we find great deals. So this wholesaler called me about a 3-bedroom, concrete bath, single-family home in Bayamón, a place that we've invested over the years and had lots of success with. This house was sitting empty for years. It's your classic zombie house. The owner had passed away, the kids had moved to Florida. So I got the call first because I close. I close clean, I close fast. And once I come to a deal with somebody, I don't renegotiate. So lesson number 1, deal flow comes from people, not platforms. It comes from driving neighborhoods, calling on the se vende signs. You want to build relationships with 2 or 3 wholesalers or real estate attorneys, people who have access to deals, who will call you because they know that you will do what you say as a real estate investor. So before I jump into the numbers, let's talk about how we underwrite it. Remember this, guys, you make your money when you buy. 3 things that I need. What's it worth fixed up? That's the after repaired value. What's it going to cost me to fix it? That's the repair cost. And with those 2 numbers, then I can figure out what's the top dollar that I can pay and still have enough meat left on the bone so that I win. Before I make my offer, what I will do is I will trust but verify. My wholesaler should give me the information that I just gave you. He's going to tell me, Robbie, the after repaired value on this is X. The amount of repairs is approximately Y. And so then I'm going to take what he told me and I'm going to look at the sold comps in the area. Preferably, I'm going to look at houses that have been renovated that are also 3-bedroom, 1-bath. They're going to be in the same area or the same neighborhood. The closer, the better. And so after doing that on this deal, I pulled the sold comps, and the renovated 3-bed, 2-baths in this area of Bayamón were selling for between $230,000 and $245,000. I underwrite conservatively. I used the $235,000. The rehab, after I walked the property, I realized the place needed a kitchen. We had to gut the bathrooms, and the old electrical and water systems were not going to work. So we were going to have to completely redo that. Plus, all of the floors, obviously the paint, and we don't do anything on the island of Puerto Rico without sealing the roof. On this house, we were going to be able to save some of the windows, but not all of them. So my honest number for the renovation with materials and labor, $55,000. Plus, I like to leave a little bit of a contingency in there, so I was actually coming in a little bit lower than that, but 55 is the number that I went with. What I did then was I used the 70% rule. Guys, as real estate investors, you need to live by the 70% rule so that you can make quick, fast offers, and as long as you can have your offer come in at an all-in price of 70% of the after repaired value, in this case it was $235,000 times 70% minus the repair cost. In this case, those repair costs were $55,000. So our max offer, $164,500 minus the $55,000. Basically, $119,500 was the most that I could pay. And the wholesaler here, he was asking $95,000. So I had room. So guys, I think it's okay to say okay to a good deal. And if I was willing to pay all in 119 and he was only asking 95, I could take the offer. In this case, we ended up getting it for $88,000. Honest number on the renovation, $55,000. Plus, we always like to put in a contingency. Here's the 70% rule. You take your after repaired value, multiply it times 70%, subtract off your renovation. That will give you your max allowable offer or your max offer. So in this case, we were using $235,000 as the after repaired value times 70%. That's $164,500 minus our $55,000 renovation. That comes to $109,500 as the max allowable offer. That's the most that I would want to pay, knowing that $109,500 plus 55 would put me into the thing at $164,500 and I'd still make money. The wholesaler in this case was asking $95,000. So that meant that I had room. But nobody pays asking price. So I offered him $88,000 and we landed at $92,000. Well under my $109,500 ceiling. So the deal works even with a cushion. Now, here's the Puerto Rico part that can destroy investors who don't know it. I'll clear 3 records before closing. So we bought the property for the $92,000 and we're ready to start our renovation. Remember, of course, we had some closing costs. We got to make sure that the taxes were paid and all of that stuff. But that happens as you get into the deal and you take it to the attorney who's going to close it. We own the property now, ready to start the rehab. Everything doesn't always go the way as you planned, right? So we had a $12,000 expense on this. We thought that we would seal the roof. Every renovation that we do on the island of Puerto Rico, we start from the roof down. We like to work from top down, and so we start sealing it. This was no different. The difference here was the water had been seeping through the concrete for a decade, and the concrete was not in good shape anymore. So this was a big expense. When you have to replace these concrete roofs, it's not just a couple $1,000 fix. In this case, it was a $12,000 problem, and we didn't see it coming. So someone before us had patched up the roof and let the water keep seeping in. We sealed the top, and then we started looking at it from the bottom up, and we realized that the rebar had exploded and that it all had to come out. That's a big expense. That's something that we could have probably gotten had we gone in and done a better, more thorough inspection, but it's okay. We roll with the punches. We're value-add real estate investors. We ripped the damn thing out and we rebuilt the roof. So guys, this is why we like to have big kind of surprise budgets. So when we do our renovation costs, and remember in this one I said that we had a budget of $55,000. My contractor had come in a little bit lower than that, but I went with that $55,000 figure knowing that I was going to need it for something. In this case, it was a $12,000 roof. This is a lesson that you can all learn from me. On the island of Puerto Rico, it never goes exactly according to plan, but really that's kind of a universal truth as a real estate investor. It doesn't matter if you're doing this in Florida or Georgia or Tennessee. You guys have to have some reserves built into your renovation budgets. So if the contractor says he's going to get it done for $35,000 and I was in Florida, I might have a fudge factor of 10%, which would only be another $3,500. On the island of Puerto Rico, I'll often want to have 15, 20, or 25% reserves so that I can roll with the punches. Luckily, in this case, we had enough of a budget, or we had enough reserve in the budget that the $12,000 didn't blow our complete deal. So we were still going to be able to get through this and make some money. When you have these kind of surprises, guess what? It also takes more time. So not only do we have to rip the roof off, and that's a $12,000 expense that we didn't expect to do, but it slows down everything else. So it makes everything go a little bit slower. And that's one of the joys of doing renovations on the island of Puerto Rico. They always take a little bit longer, so budget that as well. Here's a couple of takeaways that I have from going through the numbers and talking to it about it with you. We want to do this kind of deal over and over again. That's why we moved to the island of Puerto Rico. There's a few things that you should know if you're watching this. If you're investing in this type of product not on the island, but back in the States where I came from. So I come from Central Florida, and for years and years, we would do the same kind of investments, take the really dirty, nasty stuff, renovate it, and then sell it at the top of the market. Things would go a little bit faster in the States. They take a little bit longer on the island. Things cost a little bit more in the States, especially labor. Materials cost a little bit more on the island, and labor is definitely going up on the island. But the main takeaway that I want you to have here, whether you're doing this in the States or you're doing it on the island of Puerto Rico, the relationships that you build in real estate as a real estate investor, as an entrepreneur, they're where the value is. So I have this wholesaler on this deal that brought me the Bayamón house, and we've now done, I think we're approaching like a dozen deals. We've done a lot of deals together. He keeps calling me. Why does he keep calling me? Because I do what I say. I close when I say I'm going to close. And then the other part of it, the relationship that I have with my partner, he will be glad when I call him for the next one because I make him 20% on his money in a 7-month period of time. Guys, even if that 20% had taken an entire year, the guy would be super happy. So my friend is going to take the next call. Every real estate deal's not the same, right? This one went really well. We made a almost 20% return for my partner in about 7 months, which means that if you extrapolate that out over the year, he's making like close to a 40% return cash on his money. Had the investment taken the entire year and he only made 20%, well, there are worse things than making a 20% return on your $150,000 investment. So relationships are key. As real estate investors, building those relationships. We say all the time that real estate investing is a team sport, and you want to be a good team member. Whether you're like the wholesaler, the finder, who finds the deal of a lifetime and then passes it on to an operator like me, in this case, you want to leave enough money on the table as a wholesaler for the guy who does everything from A to Z to still make money. Or the third role, you're the funder. All people need to make money. Everybody's got to eat. And when you can build those types of relationships, when you can have a good team set up like that and build a conveyor belt business, so you're not just doing this one time, but you're doing it again and again and again, man, it's a good life. On the island of Puerto Rico, there's over 300,000 zombie houses. There's a 250,000 house shortage. So every single house that we renovate is filling a need, fixing a problem, one house at a time. And there's more than enough for everyone forever. We say this all the time. We believe and we live in abundance. On the island of Puerto Rico, I've never been in a place as a real estate investor where it's more abundant, where there are more zombie houses or more things that need to be fixed. There's a lot of problems on this island. And when you can figure out how to solve those problems as an entrepreneur, as a real estate investor, then that's profitable for you. All right, guys, so that was the deal. That's our Bayamón flip. Would you do that deal? Hell, I've already got another one going in Bayamón, so I know I'd do that deal again. And we're looking for the next one, and then the next one, and the next one. If you like this kind of content, if you want to become a real estate investor or an entrepreneur, then like and subscribe to the channel. And if you really want to get going faster, join our community, the Flip Flop Flipper community on School. The link's in the description. It's absolutely free, but it's a great next step for anybody who's watching the video that really wants to get in the game and become a real estate investor.